The growing tension between India and Maldives has started impacting the domestic politics of this island nation as well. MDP, the party which was ruling this island nation until recently, has come out with a statement saying that MDP and Democrats believe that alienating any development partner and especially the country's most long-standing ally will be extremely detrimental to the long-term development of the country. India has been a very close and traditional partner of Maldives, and in the last several years we have seen how Indian government was the first to rescue Maldivians during the time of pandemic. Not only India helped Maldives with vaccine Matri projects, sending them vaccine for this COVID pandemic, but also in the aftermath of COVID pandemic, when the entire tourism industry, which constitutes about 30% of the GDP of this island nation, was impacted adversely, India also lent money to Maldivian government. The credit line were extended. Hundreds of billions of dollars of Indian rupee were spent in the development projects of Maldives. These projects included housing projects, development projects, connectivity, food processing. Several hundred students from Maldives, they do come to India for higher studies. Also, India has deployed a small contingent of military personnel and naval ships, high-speed boats and Dornier plane, which helps Maldivian government in need of urgency and emergency evacuation and medical assistance. Now, everything seems to be going wrong ever since President Muizzu has come to power. The first thing he had talked, or he has conveyed to his Indian counterparts, that the Indian side should remove or withdraw all the troops that is present on this island nation. In fact, that was one of the poll promises that President Muizzu has made to his electorate during his political campaign, that was planned on India out movement. Also, that is interesting because Muizzu has also made a recent visit to China as an official state guest, where he spent about 5 days meeting hundreds of Chinese business person, a senior leadership of China, President Xi Jinping also, and they expressed a keenness in collaborating and cooperating in the entire gamut of bilateral relationship, and there was about 20 plus memorandum of understanding that was signed between Maldives and China, that ranges from economic development to trade partnership, food processing, fisheries, blue economy, digital economy, and also the kind of development and assistances in case of emergency that the Maldivians may need, that China would always be behind that. China would always ensure that Maldivians are taken care of in times of urgency. Now, drifting away from a traditional partner like India, which happens to also be very closely situated, about 70 to 100 nautical mile away, going to a place which is thousands of kilometers away, President Muizzu has clearly shown his tilting foreign policy towards China, and that is also totally against India. The latest incidence has been of an approaching Chinese ship which is coming to Maldivian water, and after the Indian defense sources have raised their concerns, there was a statement from the Maldivian government that said that they are open and they have been allowing friendly countries to dock their ships, and the latest Chinese ship which is approaching Maldivian water is not a military ship or it's not a research vehicle, but it is coming there just for the replenishment and rotation of personnel. Well, that is not something that Indian government is going to believe, and the security apparatus in India is pretty concerned about the approaching Chinese vehicle and the growing influence of China in the backyard of India, that is Indian Ocean region. The similar instances have happened with Sri Lanka also in the past, and after many attempts were made by Chinese ships to dock there and remain there stationed for a longer period, Indian agencies or Indian government had raised its concern with the Sri Lankan authorities, and now we have seen Sri Lankan government had practically stopped docking of such ships for another year. And now the latest political discord that is happening in Maldives, that has also shown a kind of growing discontent among the people of Maldives, that why are they moving away from a traditional partner and closing ties to a nation which is far from their shoreline. Now the political parties have said that both the MTP and Democrats believe alienating any development partner and especially the country's most long-standing ally will be extremely detrimental to the long-term development of the country. And the two opposition parties have said that India has been the most long-standing ally. Stability and security in the Indian Ocean is vital to the stability and security of the Maldives. This is also what these two political parties have said, and they have been holding about 55 seats in the 87-member assembly. And that is where the political power also holds, where President Muizzu may not just ignore the political discord or the political discontent that is growing in this island nation. What kind of foreign policy and domestic policy balance President Muizzu is going to make, that remains to be seen. But for now, his entire policy, his entire government setup seems to be tilting towards China and moving away from India at a very fast pace.